Welcome to today's talk session. My name is Deidre Moss, and I am the host of Can We Talk? I am an educator, motivator, and a talk connoisseur. Today, our talk session is focused on agriculture and food security. But first, I just want to say that if you are new to our page, Can We Talk is all inclusive. We facilitate a holistic talk because we know that we operate in a global community. We live in a global economy and a global village. We may be of different cultures, but some of our issues are the same. And when we talk about these issues, we learn just how closely we can identify with each other. Therefore, Can We Talk celebrates our differences and our similarities. We have a diverse team of contributors. I'm from the Bahamas, and our other team members are also a part of the Caribbean region as well, namely Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago. Today, I have the honor of introducing one of our team members from Trinidad and Tobago, Miss Nikki Williams. And at this time, I will pass the virtual mic to her to have her introduce herself.
Hello again, Daiji, and hello to the viewers. I am Nikki Williams, and I am from Trinidad and Tobago. Also a team member of Can We Talk. I am an agripreneur and the partnership lead for the Caribbean region for Thought for Food, as well as a Thought for Food ambassador. And it is my pleasure to be here on the show today. Thank you for having me, Daiji.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Williams. Thank you for that introduction. Can we talk agriculture and food security?
Yes. So what do you want to know?
We're going to get into that. So I heard you mention the word agripreneur. So what does that term mean to you?
So to me, an agripreneur would be, first of all, an entrepreneur who is operating within the agriculture industry. So anyone who is creating a business and engaging in entrepreneurial activity along the agri value chain, that, for me, that would be what an agripreneur is, all right?
Thank you. Thank you. And so as an agripreneur, your role, what role do you play? I heard you mention TFF, Thought for Food. What role do you play as an ambassador?
Well, as an ambassador for Thought for Food, which by the way is a global nonprofit, which is all about food and agricultural innovation, I act as a local representative for the organization here in my country of Trinidad and Tobago. I am also a direct point of contact for the organization implementing global strategy locally. I have a host of other roles and responsibilities, which include, supporting agri-innovation, hosting meetups, and raising awareness about issues in the food and agriculture systems within the Caribbean and across the globe.
Thank you. Thank you. And so as we focus on that backdrop of Thought for Food and your representation, your role in being the contact for Thought for Food and that organization, can we talk about the importance of promoting agriculture first? Why do you think it's important for us, especially within the Caribbean context? I know it's a worldwide thing, but in terms of within the Caribbean context, why is it so important for us to promote agriculture?
Well, agriculture to me is one of the most important sectors of any economy. It is through agriculture that we obtain our food. And so it is important to promote agriculture so that there's continuous growth in the sector. When you promote it, you will inspire other people to get involved, and you would have discussions that would address certain issues within the sector. Another reason why we should promote agriculture is because it is one of the drivers for economic growth. So when you have a well-developed agricultural sector, you can earn income for your country, and overall you would have development happening because of the increased earning and income of foreign exchange and so on. Another reason why we should promote agriculture is simply because um, it would not only stimulate economic development, but you would have job creation from whatever activities within the sector. You would have the production of food, maybe at a national or regional level. Food is important for a healthy population when you have healthy food being produced and so on. So it is really important that we promote agriculture for these reasons.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I know I heard some buzzwords. The first one that kind of stands out to me is job creation. And that's so important. That is very important. And also, as we think about promoting agriculture within our communities, within the region, how is that tied to food sustainability?
Well, food sustainability is tied to all of this because you need to produce food at a sustainable level, else you're going to have shortages or you're going to deplete some of your resources too soon. And with a sustainable system in place for producing food, you would mitigate the effects that would come out of farming on a large scale, such as contributing to greenhouse gases and climate change, and overall just the degradation of the environment that comes from agricultural farming. So when you have a sustainable food system, it will ensure that you have food at all times, but it will also help with environmental issues.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I love that you said that agriculture is important, and not just for job creation and some of the other points that you mentioned, especially within our region. We've seen a lot of countries who would have developed their agricultural industries kind of move away from agriculture. So that's definitely something that we need to consider. So I want to thank you for sharing, and also talk about your work. Um, as you would have mentioned, you are the ambassador, sorry, for TFF. And so what is your organization doing to promote agriculture and food security?
Okay, well, thoughtful food is really at the forefront of doing work to create change and solve problems within the food and agricultural space. So they are all about empowering persons and entrepreneurs who have ideas to solve problems when it comes to like food security and the environment and all of that. So one of the things that I'd like to talk about today is the Thoughtful Food Challenge, which is an annual challenge open to all persons across the world, which would provide an opportunity for persons to pitch an idea and have a chance to receive world-class training, mentorship, and have a chance to win over $30,000 in prizes to accelerate their startups and really bring it to life. So that is one of the highlights of what Thoughtful Food is doing to support persons who are the change makers and the really passionate ones who are doing the work to help the food systems all over the world.
Thank you. And as you would have mentioned, this is all over the world. So this is a global thing.
Yes.
So another point that I want to talk about is concern. What is food security? And should we be concerned about food security, especially within the Caribbean context?
Well, first of all, food security would exist when you could say that all persons have access to food that is safe and nutritious at all times. So that is when you can say you are food secure. The opposite of that would be food insecurity, where you would not have access to food, or they may have food and you may be unable to purchase it. And so to ensure that you have a food security for your country or wherever, it means that the food must be available quantity-wise, it must be of quality, it must be available, and it must be produced sustainably. So that in a nutshell sums up what food security is. And the other question?
Thank you. Awesome. I know within my country in the Bahamas, we do have an organization that promotes the agriculture sector in providing local fruits and vegetables for the local community, and there's efforts being made to support food sustainability. However, I think we have some work to do.
Yeah, you asked about food security in other countries, was it? In the Caribbean?
Within our context, yeah, I mean, it is a global concern, as we
Yes.
hear about different stories about news. Sorry, we hear the news of food shortages, so it is a global concern. But I think the focus is we want to zoom in within the Caribbean region. You wanted to add to it?
Yeah, well, like you rightly said, it is a global concern now more than ever, because according to the experts and the scientists, the world is in a position where we will not be able to feed ourselves by the year 2050, because we would have such a huge population, which is estimated to be around 10 billion people. And so even now we can see with the situation in St. Vincent, they had the unfortunate event of the volcano damaging their agriculture and livestock there, and that left them vulnerable to food insecurity. So that is why persons must take concern to the issue of food security, because what do you do when you have, these shocks, whether it be natural disaster or economic shocks that would threaten how food secure your country or island is? Mhm.
Nikki, I'm so glad that you raised that point, especially within Caribbean nations, and some of us being small island developing nations, SIDS, we are vulnerable to natural disasters and different impacts that can impact our food supply. And so that's why it is definitely important for us to ensure food security. So that is an excellent point that you brought up. So also, I want to raise the point of understanding. Um, are there any one or two things that you can share that you would want persons to know about agriculture or food security within your context, within the Caribbean context, in your country, in Trinidad and Tobago, within a global context, you can share with us?
Yeah, well, when it comes to agriculture, I would say that first of all, I'd like to share the fact that there is a challenge globally when it comes to farming, not just the environmental impact of farming, but the fact that farmers are said to be aging. We don't have enough young people involved in farming and agriculture. So I think that is in part due to the fact that agriculture is not seen as prestigious as other sectors and other occupations. So you don't have a lot of young people choosing to become farmers, even though they may, like myself, come from a background where you have a family of farmers. So that is one thing that we need to pay attention to and encourage young persons to see the value that they would be adding to society when they choose careers in agriculture. And so it's not just a one-off thing where you decide to go and cultivate the land or raise livestock. There are a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities within the agricultural sector, a lot of areas to diversify and really add value, and a lot of space to innovate. And in part, that is why we need to push for that. TFF, or Thought for Food, is doing amazing work in that space, empowering people to bring their creations and their innovations to life, addressing real-time solution problems. So we need to continuously push for that. In the Caribbean here, we need to continue to try and diversify from all the other revenue streams that we rely so heavily on. So for example, we've seen the tourism industry go down as a result of COVID, and that would leave some loopholes when it comes to food security and trade and all these things. And if we have proper systems in place, and if we are food secure in our own right by producing and exporting and having a region, the Caribbean region, so food secure that we really don't need to rely on imports and so on in a big way, then we could really be stronger as a region. So that is two things that I wanted to say about agriculture. And food security, it's everybody's business. You can, at the individual and household level, fight food security, grow your own food at home if you can. There are a lot of ways that you can grow stuff without having any available land space, like container planting and all these other things. So you can look into that, see how much of your food you can grow at home. It would be of benefit to you. You will have healthier produce. It would be good for your mind and body, especially for persons at home with all this free time now. Grow your own food at home. That's all I wanted to really push for this afternoon in my remarks.
I love that. I mean, you raise so many good points. Let me see if I can get my mind around this now. The first one is farmers aging, as you would have mentioned. And I mean, yeah, I mean, that's a thing. That really is a thing where you have persons within the industry that are getting older, and our young persons really coming in to tap into the industry and help cultivate it and help develop it. And I know you said that that's something that we need within our region, but then at the same time, you know, they also need support. It's not easy, you know, farming and developing your land and developing your products. Like, you also need support, governmental support as well. So that ties into it as well. But that is an awesome point that you would have mentioned. And you also mentioned that we saw the impact of COVID-19 and what it has had on us when we moved away from agriculture to focus on more tourism-centered economy. And we see the effect that COVID-19 has had on our economies. And so it kind of causes us to zero in on the other industries that were kind of underdeveloped, including agriculture. And that is something that we also need to look into and something that we need to focus on as well. So I really want to thank you for raising those points. Those are excellent points. And also you said that you don't necessarily need a large yard space. Like, I would have thought too, like, you need a huge yard space to grow plants, but go ahead, take over.
No. If you do have land space, then it would be smart to utilize it in a way that, you know, you get food to eat from it. But if you don't, then there are a simple thing as plant pots, and there are even some herbs that you can even grow in water all year long. So a little bit of research would give you all the answers you need as to how you can best go about growing at least some of the food that you would consume on a daily basis.
So I just want to look at the comments in the comment section below our video, and one of our viewers here is saying rebrand the culture of agriculture. I like that. Right. Rebrand the culture. Like, what do you think about that?
I think that is an amazing idea, and we have some NGOs doing it. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, we have an NGO called YFAM that is changing the term agriculture to agriculture. I follow their work, and I think they're doing amazing with that.
Was that he rebranded it? Say that again.
Yes. So shout out to Alpha Sinan. He rebranded agriculture into agriculture. You can follow his work.
What's that? Say that again.
Agriculture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I believe their work is more about getting young persons involved in agriculture, and that is so commendable. Um, but we all have to do our part and get our young ones at home involved in get them away from the screens and into, you know, beneficial activities such as growing food. Yeah.
I love your points, and I love the fact that you're a young person involved in the agriculture industry. And if I just want to touch a little bit of how I know you said you come from a family of farmers.
Yeah. So most of my immediate family, they are farmers. So growing up, I would have been exposed to, that life. A couple of years ago, I started doing my own thing and getting actively involved because even though I come from a family of farmers, I was never really too much into the garden work and whatnot. But now I have so much respect and love for agriculture and farming. And I have um, my own little thing going on where I am currently growing like exotic fruits and citrus and long-term crops. Yeah.
Can you tell us about that? What are long-term crops?
So these would be like fruit trees, things that would take a couple years before they start to bear fruit. So I have stuff like avocados and citrus, oranges, Portugals, um, exotic fruits like rambutan and all these other things. So yeah. So
Okay.
check me when you need your fruits in a couple of
I
years.
know. Okay. That last fruit, what is that? Ramadan?
Yeah, so that is one of the exotic fruits that we could grow down here.
So what do
Um,
you use it in?
I believe you could use it you can eat it just as it is. First of all, it's very sweet, has a nice texture, but you can also, I think you can make punch with it, I'm not sure. But mostly it is eaten just straight out the shell as a fruit.
I love that. Okay, so I just wanted to look at the comments again. So one of our viewers, he's talking about the planting as well in your yard, vertical farming, container garden, grow boxes. Some of these
Yeah.
stuff look foreign to me, but I'm sure you know what they mean, right?
Yes. So these are all ways that you can grow stuff at home. The vertical farming, where you could use that technique when you need to save space, and you would have, I don't know what medium you would be using. You can use different mediums. Like using PVC pipes and all of this is popular now. I've never used that before, but I am um, knowledgeable of it a bit. So all of these are ways that you can grow stuff in your yard. Even if your yard is paved, you can set up some containers, fill them with soil, healthy soil, nutritious soil, because you want healthy plants and healthy produce, and you can start growing your own food just like that.
Awesome. And another comment I'm looking at, as we would have talked about the recent natural disasters, seed vaults, and food shortage. So, food security is definitely needed. And I want to thank our viewers for sharing their thoughts as well. I mean, as we would have seen, some of the current events that kind of remind us of the importance of
Mhm.
agriculture and food security. So, is there anything else that you would want to share or that you would want to talk about?
Not really, but just to add to the last comment about food security, it's important to remember that when you're talking about food security, you need to take into consideration that the food that is available, yes, it can be available, but it has to be nutritious and nourishing to your body. So even if in your household or your area you have access to food, but it is not nourishing to your body, it is not safe, it was not produced in a healthy environment, then you would be considered food insecure. So it's not just about availability, but you need to take into consideration the other dimensions, which is the quality of it and quality, quantity, and availability.
Thank you for raising that point. That is definitely another aspect that we need to consider as well, as you would have mentioned, because you would normally think about the availability being the issue of food security and food insecurity, but here it is. You
Yes,
mentioned that the quality
yes.
of it also matters as well.
Mhm.
So, Nikki, Ms.
Yes,
Williams, thank you for sharing with us today.
my
Um,
pleasure. Thank you for having me.
some of some of the key points that stands out to me is you're a young person working in the agriculture industry, trying to support food sustainability in your country, and also what you would have mentioned, some of the points that you would have mentioned, trying to get younger persons into the agriculture industry as we see the older persons aging who would have kind of been developing the industry. We want to
Yeah,
bring young persons back. Yeah, we kind of move
yes.
away from agriculture and we focused on so much on other industries that we neglected our
Mhm.
agriculture, and this is our food. This is what we eat.
Exactly. This
So
is what we need to
that
survive.
there's nothing more exactly. So there's really nothing more important than these industries, and is this is definitely important conversations that we need to have, and we also want to make this a global bring in more persons as well, not just within the Caribbean region, because this doesn't affect us. This is a global thing because we hear about shortages, food shortages, and different things that are going on. So these are discussions that we need to have.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And don't forget anyone watching who is interested in signing up for the Thought for Food Challenge, you can visit thoughtforfood.org and learn more and sign up.
Thoughtforfood.org.
Or yes,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Williams. Thank you for being on our team.
you're welcome.
And so I would like to thank our viewers for listening in and sharing your thoughts, sharing your comments with us today. Like our page for future notifications of upcoming discussions. Ms. Williams, we definitely want to continue this discussion and maybe enlarge the panel.
Sure.
Yeah.
That would be
And so
great.
comment on the Yeah, definitely. So comment under our videos, let us know your thoughts, and let us know what you want us to talk about. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, Can We Talk? Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and using the addresses that we provide on our page. And also, we want you to participate in our Father's Day giveaway, feature and giveaway. If you know a good father and you think he needs to be featured, let us know. Our dads need love too. So we want to thank you for joining us today and good evening. Thank you and good evening. Bye, Nikki.
Bye.